On this episode of In the Weeds, we take a trip to the Ural Mountains to sit with some shamans so we can try to learn how to surf the event horizon and talk about life recorded 22 minutes at a time.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2. So I'm Mom. How's everybody feeling? We'll go around.
I'm Austin. Feeling pretty good. Had me a nice cold shower after the hot day. Sun kind of setting a little bit. Just feeling good. How about you, French fry?
I'm big chilling, sitting over here enjoying it. I'm also known as John, in case people haven't put that together. Today busy day, but here we are. What about you, Mike?
I was doing good, but then as we started, I got bit by a really big mosquito, so I'm looking forward to that. But all in all, I'm doing pretty good. I took a shower as well, because it is hot today.
Oh, it's
Sweltering. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, definitely was sweating bullets today. Very hot one.
Oh, yeah.
Something that I keep thinking about we need to mention, we are in Augusta, Georgia. So
Yeah, we're down in the south.
heat and humidity, if nobody picked up any kind of southern twang from any of us, that is where we hail from.
I don't think we sound southern at all.
No, you don't think so?
No.
I'm sure some people that aren't from the south probably think that we sound
Oh, yeah.
quite country bumpkinish.
Yeah.
Right?
But so today we've got a few topics, and I think Mike's going to lead us off today.
Yeah, so I guess I want to start off with giving everybody the good news. And
We
that
like good news.
is that it's Christmas in July. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas in July.
It is.
Well, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyways because there's no snow.
Yeah, it's all the
So-
same here.
Yeah.
But it is Christmas in July because today I'm talking about the connection between the story of Santa Claus and how it could potentially tie into reindeers and shamans doing psychedelic mushrooms.
Pretty
Alright.
awesome lead-in. I
Yep.
like that. Good
Yep.
tease.
Yep, and I should start off by saying that this is something that's been pretty well talked about, as is, and it's there's a wealth of information out there to find on it. So if you want to do your own research into it at all, there's plenty, like pages and pages of Google, of just all of this. So I'll start off by saying that we know Santa Claus, like we have a certain vision, like idea of Santa Claus. Like when you think of Santa, you have a picture in your head. And I think we all have the same picture. Is like,
What's your picture of Santa Claus?
it's a fat guy in a red and white suit, and he's really happy. And, he wears, he's got the hat that leans over, and it's red with the white puffball on the end, and
Yep.
he's got the black
down,
boots.
Yeah, comes down your chimney.
Comes down your chimney, gives you presents, eats cookies.
Big bushy beard.
Yep, big bushy beard. Puts coal in your stocking, stuff like that.
When
if you're
you're
a bad, yeah, if
bad.
you're a bad kid. So this idea of Santa Claus, as we know it, originated in two places, and it's actually pretty recently in which these ideas came to be. So I don't have the exact date for the first one, but in the 1800s, Clement Clark Moore wrote a poem, like sort of like a bedtime kind of poem for kids and stuff like that. And it was titled A Visit from St. Nicholas. And he took the historical St. Nicholas, who was known for helping the poor. He took that figure and turned him into like a gift giver for kids and like the whole, coming down the chimney and all that.
Yeah, because there was a guy that was a gift, like he made wooden toys or whatever and would like take them to towns. There was that guy back then, wasn't there?
I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
do you mean like the one person or just like a guy in a city?
Well, the Nicholas guy.
Oh, yeah, no. St. Nicholas, I believe, was a real person.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and he was known for, being, like, generous and stuff like that. So, yeah, this guy, Clement Clark Moore, wrote the piece, A Visit from St. Nicholas, but it's more commonly known as The Night Before Christmas.
Yeah, that's
So I
why
think-
everyone associates Santa's name as actually Saint Nicholas. Saint Nick.
Yeah, St. Nick. Yep. And then a lot of, like, that's, like, the idea of Santa Claus and what Santa Claus does. And then, at least for us in the U.S., which is where most of our listeners are, the picture of Santa Claus came from, I believe, in the either late 20s or late 30s, Coca-Cola.
I was
I was
gonna
about to say, yeah,
guess. That was gonna
Coca-Cola,
be my
right?
guess.
Coca-Cola. They commissioned that painting of Santa Claus with the Coke, and they were like, we want him to look like this, and then the guy painted it, and that's what it's been ever since.
So Coca-Cola epitomized Santa Claus.
They did what to Santa Claus?
Epitomized.
Yeah, Coca-Cola epitomized Santa Claus. Yep.
Hmm.
So that's the idea of Santa Claus, and we know about all of this, right? So now, it makes you kind of think like, why did Clement Clark Moore, take Saint Nicholas and make him a jolly gift giver that comes down the chimney and stuff like that? And why did Coca-Cola want him to be like fat and jolly and very like jovial with the red cheeks and everything? Like, where did these ideas kind of come from?
I think one, to help keep churn in line, and two, sell product.
Okay.
Those are my theories.
Okay. Maybe
I feel like it's probably something kind of similar to the Grimace situation. As I'll give an example, is Saint Nick's and Santa's quote unquote story. It's probably a little bit too dark for the
I'll go to
kids.
Potentially.
I'll go to a darker bit of it, maybe because back then Saint Nick was like a criminal or something, or I don't know.
That's interesting as well. So I don't know if any of you are right or wrong,
Well,
but it's interesting to think about. I will say that one potential idea is that some cultures have been passed down through different societies, and it culminated in Santa Claus, but it started as shamans in the Arctic Circle doing rituals with psychedelic mushrooms. And, the more you look into it, there's a lot of connections, and we can kind of start to get into that. So I'll start with that where is it? At Harvard University, Donald Pfister, the curator and professor of biology, he every year does a little thing for his students where he'll get them together and he'll tell them the story that more or less what I'm about to tell y'all. But it's basically that in 1967, the scholar Robert Gordon Wasson published a book arguing that Amanita muscaria, which is the mushroom, also known as fly agaric, was used in ancient ceremonies by shamans in the Far East. So he published this book, people read it. Other scholars came out and claimed that in Siberia, shamans and reindeer were known to eat Amanita muscaria. The idea is that the reindeer eat the mushrooms and then go berserk, and your altered senses tell you that the reindeer are like flying
They're
around.
flying.
And then it's also theorized that while you're tripping on the mushroom, like there's still mushrooms around you, and that the mushroom itself, in a way, becomes personified, and it kind of becomes Santa Claus in a sense.
Oh, I was going to say the mushrooms were the elves, Santa's helpers.
Or even that, like that's not even bad either. It's just like,
the elves were the tree people, bro.
yeah, the tree people, yeah. It's sort of the idea that like you take the mushroom and the psychedelic effects make you see things and make you feel things, happy and like, whoa,
Happy
the reindeer
and
are
jolly.
flying around. Yeah.
And reindeer flying.
Yeah. And that's a pretty loose sort of connection, but I wanted to do a little bit more digging into it, and I found like stronger connections into that. Oh, and I should say that that first bit of information came from NPR.org. The article, Did Shrooms Send Santa and His Reindeer Flying?
I love NPR.
Yeah, NPR is really good. NPR is really good. So let me just flip over real quick. So my second source was this website called ffungi.org, I think is what it is. It's got 2 Fs.
Because it's a fun guy.
Yeah, but it's because it's a fun guy.
You are absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, so funny.
I know, but looks aren't everything.
So this website is sort of a it's a like a documentation for just all things mushrooms. Like think of like the science of mushrooms, but more tree hugger kind of feel.
I was like, but fungi isn't only mushrooms. Like fungi is a broader spectrum.
Yeah,
Like,
fungi
there's more
is-
fungi than just mushrooms.
Right.
Okay.
It's fungus. Yeah. I didn't do a whole lot of digging on the website itself. Just
Right.
I was on the page for the article.
Yeah. So what's fungi.com tell us?
So fungi.com tells us, or ffungi.org, I should
Fungi.org,
say.
Sorry.
They also go on to talk about Robert Gordon Wasson, and they say that him and a anthropologist named John A. Rush have both come to the conclusion through their separate research that Amanita muscaria is closely related to Christmas. So these two individuals looked into it themselves, and they're like, yeah, I think there's something here. And some of their points that they have is it was found that the winter solstice ceremony of the indigenous people of the North Pole, especially the Koryaks of Siberia and the Kamchadals, descendants of the Koryaks, had similar traditions to those of Christmas Eve. The whole, you know, got to be quiet, got to go to bed by a certain time, the decorations and all that, like Santa's going to come. And
So this was pre-1920 Santa Claus that they had these similar traditions?
yeah, so this is like they went and studied these tribes who had like the same traditions and rituals and stuff passed down through generations for
Okay.
hundreds of years. And like,
Okay.
because they're still tribal in a sense, they
Right.
still practice the traditions.
Okay.
And I believe they still practice these traditions to this day, from what I
Okay.
understand.
So this has just been handed down time immemorial. We don't know how long they've been doing this.
No, I mean, we could probably guesstimate. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but for a really long time.
Damn.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there's I'll describe the mushroom real quick, and then I'll get into the rest of this. It's kind of, I was trying to organize my notes before this, and it was kind of hard to organize it because it's also intertwined. So the mushroom, it's got a red hat with white dots. You can picture the Mario mushroom. That's also the Amanita muscaria.
See, last time I made that reference, everybody's like, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were one of the podcasts we did. One of our
I think it
recordings.
was 0.5.
I
Point
think it was
0.5?
0.5. Yeah,
Huh.
I'm like, oh, the Mario one.
Well, I was looking into it, and apparently, yeah, the Mario mushroom's
Yes.
Amanita muscaria. The Amanita muscaria actually shows up quite a lot through a wide range of like art and stuff like that, and for
Mhm.
like different reasons, and it has its own different meaning and different cultures. It's super interesting, but it's like that mushroom specifically, and a few other specific mushrooms.
Maybe because it's like the prettiest mushroom.
Maybe it could be. I mean, it is. It does catch your eye. It's red with white dots.
It stands out.
It does stand out. Yeah. So this mushroom, it grows in the ground near birch and pine trees. And the indigenous people of the north consider pine trees trees of life due to their height. Now, I'll also say real quick, a pine tree is also very commonly a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And make a very good Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Maybe not a Georgia pine, but
No, not a Georgia pine, but yeah, some
Yeah.
northern
But they
pines.
are in the pine family.
yeah.
So.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll get into some of these traditional connections that kind of help tie this stuff together.
So it's time to put on our seatbelts.
Yeah,
'Kay.
pretty much. This is like we were on the steep bit of the roller coaster. Now hopefully we're about to go down. I don't know.
Right.
Depends on my
But
presenting
is there water at
ability.
the bottom?
What's that?
Is there water at the bottom?
Do you want there to be water at the bottom?
He wants a flume ride.
It's kind of hot, you know. Maybe it can feel kind
Oh,
of nice.
okay, yeah. Have you been on Splash Mountain?
Yeah.
Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Splash Mountain. That's where we're at.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so y'all get ready.
We just finished all the ticks.
Yeah.
We're cresting.
Yeah, I'll
Take-
say real quick. When I went on Splash Mountain as a kid once, and you know how they take your picture like right as you're falling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was so young and like frail, basically, that
You were
when
so scared.
not that I was scared, but when the ride went over the crest and like really picked up speed, and then they take the picture, the G's were hitting my face so hard that it like was literally stretching my face out. And in the picture, I looked dumb as hell.
You
My
were
dad was like,
cute.
"Why are you making that face?" I'm like, "I couldn't help it. The G's were fucking me
You
up,
were
Dad."
pulling you.
Yeah,
Damn.
That's funny.
yeah, that's a fond memory of Splash Mountain I have.
Oh,
Anyways, back to the mushrooms here,
Right.
the important stuff at hand.
Right.
So these traditional connections, on its own, the mushroom is very toxic to humans. Like, you can eat a little bit of it, but if you eat like a whole mushroom, you'll probably die
huh.
or be very, very sick. Very, very sick. So to ingest the mushroom, or at least a lot of the mushroom, you have to detoxify it. And these northern tribes found a few very good methods to detoxify these mushrooms. And these methods include dehydrating them on the branches of pines, stuffing them into socks and heating over a fire,
Huh?
or allowing reindeer to ingest and then collect their urine and drink it. Because they found out that the reindeer their bodies can handle the toxicity of whole mushrooms, but the alkaloids in the mushrooms that give you the psychoactive effects don't get broken down during the process of getting turned into urine. So they would just like drink the urine and get all the psychedelic effects, but none of
I'll
the
pass.
non-psychedelic alkaloids in the
So-
mushroom.
I'm
Okay,
pass.
hold on.
That's a hard
hold on,
no.
Hold on.
Okay, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, let's rewind for a second. Okay, so drying the mushrooms out on the tree itself.
Because somebody.
What is that?
Ornaments on the
Yes.
tree.
Okay.
Stuffing it in the stocking.
What is that?
Stuffing your stocking
Yes.
full of candy.
Yes.
And the feeding it to the reindeer is if you want better presents, you put food out for the reindeer when Santa gets there.
Or leaving the cookies for Santa.
Mhm.
Or leaving the cookies for Santa.
So what's
Yeah.
drinking the deer pee?
Eggnog.
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 Yeah, eggnog. Yeah, eggnog, or maybe that's where mushy tea originates.
We'll get into that a little bit. It doesn't originate there, but
I want to bring it back to who was the guy that was so down bad he thought, I'm going to drink this deer's
A
piss.
super dehydrated guy.
I was about to
apparently.
say somebody.
Was he
very
dehydrated or was he down bad?
well, from what I understand, are you talking about the first guy?
Yeah, the first guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, who was the first
He
one
was on
that
some
ate-
Bear Grylls shit.
He
I was gonna say,
was.
who was the first one that ate
Also,
the pretty red mushroom?
Secondly, I'm not eating nothing out of somebody else's crusty old musky sock. You got me, that
what
ain't
if
happening.
it's your own crusty old musty
That's
sock?
nope. That I know where my foot's been, and I still won't do it.
It's gotta be a
Damn,
clean
bro.
sock.
No, just not gonna happen.
Not even a brand new clean sock?
If it was brand new, yeah, okay.
But if
Alright,
it's been
well.
washed and dried, no.
If it's been on someone's foot, nah.
Oh, okay.
We got
Okay.
hide for socks back then, so
So we know
Yeah, right.
Jonathan's line.
yeah,
Okay.
no food in socks.
Okay.
All right.
Continue.
Yeah.
So where was I at? Oh yeah. So these most of the time the people that were eating the mushrooms were the shamans themselves, and I'll say that a shaman is like a religious leader, is like a religious person, a leader, and a doctor all rolled in one.
Yeah.
It's like basically what a shaman is.
Called the witch doctor.
Yeah. So in these northern tribes, the shamans were like they were the wisdom seekers and givers, and like they were head honchos around.
They
that
was top
place.
dog.
Yeah. So these shamans, every once in a while, like basically during the winter solstice, I believe, is when the ritual calls for. They would, through one of these methods, they would ingest the psychoactive effects from the mushroom and then go on a trip. And legend says that during the trip, they could see the future of the community and then turn into an animal and travel toward the North Star, which is the brightest star in the sky. They would travel towards the star in search of knowledge. And at the end of the trip, they would return to the group in the yurt, because they're all in yurts,
Right.
because it's the cold keeps you warm. Yurts are good.
Mm-hmm.
They would return to the yurt and share the knowledge of the vision. So think about it this way: Santa Claus flies through the sky with his reindeer delivering gifts. Shamans deliver the gift of knowledge from the trip and sharing portions of the mushroom to those present. Another similarity is that the shaman and others would use the hole in the roof of the yurt to enter and exit
'Cause
because
that's-
the walls were snowed in.
Basically, their chimney.
Mm-hmm. It was their chimney
Yeah.
because they had the fire in the center, and that's where
Right.
the smoke
Right.
went through. And then what else is it? Oh, and it says here that the shamans. Now this wasn't super common or prolific, but it's started appearing more as the ritual progressed through the
Generations.
generations. But the shamans would honor the mushroom for the knowledge that it gave in their own way by like wearing red and white clothes because the mushroom itself was
It
red and white. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And North Pole, North Star.
Yep. And then also
Ah.
they had reindeer leather, like boots and articles of clothing, because reindeer is probably the most common big game up there. So
Makes
these
sense.
shamans would be wearing these red and white clothes during these trips, and they'd go off somewhere because in their trip they're an animal seeking wisdom from the North Star, and they'd physically move. And then when they were done tripping, they would come back and they'd be wearing these red and white clothes, and they'd have these reindeer boots. And the reindeer hide over time through wear and tear turns black. And I didn't know if that was true or not, and I looked it up, and it's like all leather darkens as it gets used and dirty and stuff. And then I looked up specifically if reindeer leather turns black, and I was looking. I didn't get any straight answers, so I was looking at Google images of reindeer leather things like shoes, handbags, stuff like that. And on the most worn areas of these things, it was black. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
Son of a bitch.
So that's
Right?
where his black boots and belt came from.
Yeah,
Because
reindeer
that would make
leather.
sense. Even a reindeer belt, they're
Right.
moving and jiving, getting ducking and diving. It's going to get that wear,
Mhm.
so it's going to eventually turn some
It's
kind
like
of a black.
the wear
too.
and tear, dirt, all that shit. Like from your oils from your hand touching it, it all just
Yeah.
goes black after
So
a while.
really, Santa's a shaman.
And Coca-Cola did not create our image of Santa.
Nope.
Shamans did.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, now I can see Santa with like reindeer antlers instead of like a drooped over like pointy hat, like sitting there like chaka chaka chaka.
Why would he
chaka,
have
chaka,
reindeer antlers?
Now
Because he's a shaman.
Now he says that, and I'm thinking those headband reindeer antlers with the lights strung between them.
Oh, that's where they come
There you
from.
go.
That's where those come from. The shamanistic rituals.
And then he had mushrooms on the antlers, just to yeah,
like
no.
antlers growing out of his head?
no, like
Just on his head.
yeah, just on his head.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
same deer that he got the hide from for his boots, took the antlers, put them on his head.
Dude, honestly, maybe. I don't know enough about their culture to really know. But to entertain the idea, it's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Chaka, chaka, chaka,
He's
chaka.
dancing, you guys.
So,
Boy hitting a cha-cha slide.
yeah. So on the same website, we're still on ffungi.org. It has some cultural expansion. It has a theory of how these rituals and the idea of Santa Claus came to spread to Western civilization. And the theory is that Druids would travel from these villages, and they ended up in Great Britain. And then through cultural exchange, because Great Britain was like one of the first big capitals, it was up there.
They was the traders.
Yeah, and through cultural exchange with other cities and civilizations and stuff like that, it was combined with Germanic and Nordic myths that related to adventures such as those of Wotan and Odin, who are like the German and Norse counterparts.
Okay.
And one of these adventures of theirs is that they would travel through the night of the winter solstice, and they were chased by demons in a sleigh pulled by an 8-legged horse.
The 8 tiny reindeer.
The 8 reindeer. It is said that a trail of red and white blood fell from the sleigh, and that the horse itself frothed white foam to the ground, where the mushrooms would appear the next year.
It's a very dark depiction right there. That's
That's pretty dark.
So wait.
some imagery right there in my head.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, these druids would, go on their winter solstice trip every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, for them to get knowledge, they had to outrun a demon in a sleigh.
No, they were in the sleigh, right?
No, the demons were in the sleigh, and the sleigh was pulled by an 8-legged horse.
So
And
they
yeah,
were outrunning that thing.
Yeah.
Trying to get to the north.
I don't know if they were trying to get to the North Star, but it was just that on the winter solstice they
Well,
would
you said
make
they were
this
trying to
journey.
get to the North Star for the knowledge.
No, the
Shamans were.
shamans are.
That's what
Shamans.
The shamans, yeah.
But the druids.
I'm speaking of the stories of Odin and Wotan.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
my
Nordic
bad, my
and
bad, my
German
bad.
counterparts, they were druids.
Oh, okay.
And this
yeah.
druid story was they were fleeing
Yeah.
demons on an 8-legged
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah, the source is saying that a potential thing is that these rituals spread to Great Britain, and then they got mixed with Germanic and Nordic myths.
Mm.
This is one of those myths, is the demons with the 8-legged horse.
Oh, okay.
So another interesting thing I saw on ffungi.org is that the supposed effects of Amanita muscaria are feelings of joy, desire to sing, and increased muscle tone.
Increased muscle tone?
Yeah, and I said, what? Increase like you
That's what
get,
you think you have, or that's what your muscle
No,
tone actually
you-
increases?
you get increased muscle tone is what it says. And I was like, what?
So-
that is a psychedelic mushroom makes you stronger, like more muscular vigor,
So I don't need to go to the
Psychedelic steroids?
gym. I need to take
right? I'm
toadstool.
gonna start microdosing on fly agaric and then lift some big circles and get really ripped.
Go get
dude.
yoked.
Yeah, get yoked real quick.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, well, I need to find out like what are the effects.
That took you another way.
Yeah, what are the effects of fly agaric mushrooms? And that took me to this website called iceers.org, iceers.org. And this website is just like a repository of psychedelics and their effects and, how to prepare them and how not to do it and stuff like that. So on iSears.org, according to iSears.org, it says that fly agaric mushrooms contain high quantity of alkaloids, most notable being ibotenic acid, mucimol, muscarine, and muscazone. Ibotenic acid is the main psychedelic alkaloid, and it's rather unstable, but if it's dried, it decarboxylizes into mucimol, which is a more stable, more concentrated psychedelic alkaloid.
Hmm.
So, like, you can get the effects of ibotenic acid, but you have to have, like, fresh shrooms, and it's, like, not as potent as mucimol. So if you let it decarboxylize by hanging it like
Drying
an
it out.
ornament or putting it in your stocking or drinking a reindeer's piss,
Blech.
and then you get the much more concentrated mucimol. And it says that muscarine is the alkaloid responsible for undesired effects such as discomfort, upset stomach, and vomiting.
So I heard puking was a thing.
So it can be, and it depends on which mushroom you're doing. But for this one, it's the muscarine alkaloid that causes the vomiting and just like the not good feelings. It was also found that there's a trend where mushrooms collected at higher altitudes tend to have more ibotenic acid, and those at lower altitudes have more muscarine.
That's the pukey one.
Yeah, muscarine's the pukey one.
Okay.
So if you want,
the good,
you have to
gotta
go
go
up
You
in the
gotta go
mountains.
up high.
Up in the mountains, yeah.
And follow reindeer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they migrate
Yeah.
because they want that good.
Yeah. So I also have like the dosage amounts and stuff if you guys are curious about that for each of the alkaloids, but I won't necessarily get into that because,
We don't want to give an instruction manual.
well, no, but I guess I kind of already did give an instruction manual. If you just like pretend it's Christmas, you can trip on these mushrooms, you guys. So
Christmas in July.
yeah, Christmas in July. Merry Christmas. So this website has a whole list of like all the potential effects of doing fly agaric mushrooms. And it has 3 phases in the way the trip hits, which I thought was interesting. But it says here the first phase consists of stimulation, increased energy, and sometimes increased muscular vigor. I was like, what? That's crazy. But it could also explain the idea of Santa Claus with the freaking big old sack of presents.
yeah.
Being juiced, he's
Yeah.
holding the presence of the world.
He's got the increased muscular vigor from the
Yeah.
mushroom. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It could explain that. Then it has a second phase of tranquility and drowsiness, which is just kind of like mellow vibes,
Yeah.
you know? And then it has a third phase in which the actual psychedelic effects appear, and it says that there may be experiences of a mystical nature, awareness of non-ordinary realities, and blissful or terrifying sensations.
Okay, that is a big swing.
It's a massive swing. But it's like, that's set and setting is what it really comes down to.
Okay. That's where you need the shaman.
Yeah, a shaman would help. A shaman would help.
Okay.
Some of the other effects include visual distortions, naturally, loss of balance, muscle spasms, experiences of a dreamlike nature, dizziness, visual and auditory impairment, difficulty concentrating on external tasks,
Mhm.
sensation of macrobia and microbia, which I'm not.
Macrophagia and microphagia?
It's not spelled that way, but it might be. I don't think it's pronounced that way either. It's where you perceive things around you like
Bigger or smaller, right?
yeah, than what they actually are. Yeah, I was certain I wasn't saying it right. I tried to figure out how to say it, but
It's okay,
yeah,
I mess up
Good
words
job.
every time.
those
tried.
those are some hard words. They're
Big
kind of
boy
weird.
words.
Yeah, and then the last effects are nausea and vomiting. I was like,
See?
all right, sounds like well, you don't always get
So-
nauseous and vomit.
The terrifying potentiality and the nausea and vomiting. Those are the things I'm like,
Yeah, but like that doesn't always happen. And throwing up's not so bad. If you have to throw up when you're
Just
tripping,
get it out.
it's not so bad.
Just get it out.
Yeah, it's not so bad. So that was what I thought that's what this website had. And then I scrolled up a little bit from the list of effects, and it had a origin/history of the mushroom section. And I was like, oh, snap.
Bet.
Let me check this out. And one of the first things it says in here is that the first Western report of Amanita muscaria was made by a Swedish soldier, Philip Johann von Strahlenberg. Fire name. That guy, he did some things, probably, just based off the name.
He had hose.
Yeah. So von Strahlenberg in 1730 was captured and imprisoned for 12 years in Siberia.
Oof. To
Yeah.
the gulag.
It's rough, real rough. But while
Yep.
he was there, he observed that the mushroom was used as an intoxicant in shamanic context. So, like, he was the first guy to be like, yo, they're doing rituals with this mushroom, and that was in 1730.
Okay.
Huh.
Damn.
And then, and if you remember earlier, I said that Robert Gordon Wasson in 67 published the book suggesting basically exactly what this guy
Right.
had
It
found
already
out.
knew.
Already knew.
Yeah.
So that was the first Western report. And then it went on to say that many tribes in Siberia, including, and it's specifically named, including the Koryak and Kamchatal, the two that I named earlier, where these traditions supposedly came from, continue to use the mushroom in their rituals.
To this day.
To
Or
this-
to that day, anyway.
Yeah, and it says, it continued that the tribes relied exclusively on the mushroom as an intoxicating substance until the Russians introduced alcohol. That fucked everything up.
Well,
Potato.
Mm-hmm.
vodka.
Mm-hmm. But the tribes still do practice the rituals to this day. But this is another really interesting part. In Philip Johann von Strahlenberg's report from 1730, he noted how they would use the mushroom and take the mushroom. And it says that the tribes would collect the mushroom and dry it in the sun and consume it either whole in a water or reindeer milk extraction or mixed with plant juices to sweeten the flavor. You're like, okay. And it says that these tribes also exhibited the practice of consuming urine of people who had eaten the mushroom, as they learned that the alkaloids were unchanged by the process and it could be reused up to 4 to 5 times.
Well, that's reuse,
So they were
reuse,
just-
and recycle.
They were
Ugh.
taking turns peeing into each other's mouth and tripping balls.
I think
And
urine is technically sterile. I think it's like something like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 15 to 30 minutes. It's sterile.
Yeah, it maintains its sterility, so it's.
They were drinking it pretty quick. They had to have.
I mean,
And they would do it. They would reuse the same alkaloids through this urine 4 to 5 times.
I got so many.
That is-
Which means,
I got so
I mean,
many.
that's what
Oh,
you
man.
say. Good to the last drop.
All right.
Damn,
gonna
yeah,
go
that
back.
is
I'm gonna take it
good
back
to the last
How do
drop.
you milk a reindeer?
What do you mean?
Does it have nipples?
Yeah, it's a mammal.
Have you not seen Meet the Fockers?
There's female
Who's
reindeer.
milking a reindeer?
Them.
I mean, they milk
The
people milk
Koryaks
goats.
and the
What's-
Kamchadals.
I mean, I
I
can
ain't
imagine
never
there's a
heard
big
nobody
difference between
milking
milking
a
a goat
reindeer.
and milking a reindeer.
Reindeers
Secondly-
are pretty big.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you milk a goat,
Secondly, I'm gonna go back to how down bad do you have to be to look at your boy and be like, "Hey, bro, pee in my mouth so I can trip too."
It was probably more like they all went on the trip together and they just brought this big leather bag.
And they
had
peed
hella
in it.
water and they were like, "All right, your turn."
They all
They all
like,
peed in it, let it sit for like 5 minutes, and said, "All right, next week."
Yep. Round 2. Let's go.
Oh,
No.
Shaman's still learning stuff.
disgusting.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any like questions, or do you want me to like gloss over anything that people might have missed?
I know you had mentioned, and we talked about it, you didn't touch on it. This whole idea started with Austin's mammals getting high, and you started touching on the reindeer. They migrate to find them.
Yeah, find the mushrooms.
Yeah, so I,
My
Yeah.
assumption is where he touched on the ones at lower altitudes make you sick. The ones at higher altitudes are the good
So
good. They follow the
the
high
good good,
altitude.
yeah.
They follow the good good.
Yeah. Because I didn't write it down, but I do remember when I was looking into it, it is said that the reindeer, like, they've been known to eat these mushrooms. They like them. They've been
Yeah,
doing
they-
it for
they
as long
love
as we can remember.
they get high as fuck.
Yeah.
Of course they like them. They're like, I'm in a perpetual state of joy, or sometimes maybe one of them's in a perpetual state of being terrified, and that's the one tard over there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, ain't nothing simpler than a life of a reindeer, bro. Run around on the snow, fight your homeboy every now and then,
Yeah.
eat some grass and some mushrooms. You might die from a cougar, but hey,
Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
that's
So-
the worst.
Technically, then, right? If you were able to train the reindeer, and you
Yeah.
moved with the reindeer, you might could get homie to just bring you these mushrooms, just like people train pigs to find truffles. Or I mean, pigs find truffles anyways, but
Yeah, people
know,
use pigs to
I,
find
I get your
truffles, so-
gist. I get your gist.
Yeah.
But train the reindeer to, instead of popping it with his hoof and putting it in his mouth, popping it with his hoof, putting it in a bag and bringing it to you. It's like training your dog to get a beer out of the fridge.
I would
Yeah.
say you could probably because I'm sure they've developed a sense for where like high density areas of the mushrooms are.
Oh, for sure.
So you could really just like follow them to the high dense areas and be like, all right, there's hella over here. Let me go get them.
I wonder if there's some sort of symbiosis between the birch or fir tree. No, you said birch and fir or pine and
Oh, yeah, birch and pine.
birch and pine between
Them and
that
the mushroom.
If there's
From-
some sort of, or is it just the mushroom grows there maybe because of the acid content from the pine?
When I was looking at iseers.org, if I remember correctly, it's because of like the soil content and just like the area.
pH of the soil.
Yeah, just like how the trees are, the areas that they were in, because the mushrooms don't grow everywhere. It's areas like where the birch and pine trees are at, and where the mushroom can grow if it wanted to. And it's like if the trees are there, that makes like a good
There's a
thing for
higher
the
probability.
yeah, for the mushrooms. Yeah, yeah. And I think that the northern tribes are nomadic. They would most likely be nomadic in some sense.
I'm sure at some point in
Oh,
time
yeah.
they
So
were.
they probably do follow the reindeer to some extent,
I would imagine.
and just
I mean,
end up
if,
finding the mushrooms.
or maybe at least up until when it's getting close to the winter solstice, maybe.
And then they're like, okay,
Right.
we got to stop, put our yurts up,
Yeah.
and
Right.
Get ready.
we got to take this spiritual journey.
Yeah, yeah, because I believe it's during the winter solstice that the shamans are like, it's this ritual time.
So, back on the pigs real quick. You know they're actually useful for finding another very high commodity.
What?
Oil.
Oil?
So it was very back in. I don't know if people actually used pigs to find oil, but it's kind of how like they found some of the initial ones, from what I understand.
Uh-huh.
Because they'd go out there and to the pigs, it's a mud pit.
Okay.
So they'd go and roll in it.
Yeah.
Well, then
Cool
they'd
off.
come back to the herd, and the herd's like, "Hey, bruh,
You're not cool anymore.
you're not cool anymore."
Yeah.
So they'd notice every now and again there's a pig or two separated from the rest of everybody else, and then they'd follow them, and it's oil.
Oh, wow.
So maybe that's where how the Clampets found their oil. Weren't they just farmers?
The who's?
Oh my gosh. It's a reference older people will get.
Nice. Somebody enjoyed it.
It was a very old TV show, black and white.
Oh, okay.
Cicada?
Yeah, that was a cicada.
No, that was a stink bug. But
No, it was a cicada.
A bug just
There was
fell off
one
the roof,
There was one yesterday.
hit her cooler,
Could've
and
been.
freaking dipped.
Our cooler of wine and water.
Yep.
Stay
Yep.
hydrated and enjoy some adult beverages.
Yep.
Nice. Well, I thought
enjoyed that. That was
yeah,
that was
no,
really good.
that was super cool. Like,
Yeah, it was a little bit disorganized, and I was having trouble figuring out how to organize it effectively.
no, I think you did good. I like how it kept taking you down different rabbit holes.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I would look at it, and I'm like, all right, and then I'd read something about it specifically. I'm like, there's no way, and then you read something else, and then that
Some
like,
bitch.
yeah, it backs up what you've already read before, and you're like, well, there's got to be some credence to it, because a lot of people think about it, and they're like, nah, there's no way that like this stuff is how we got Santa Claus, but I think there's too many coincidences, I guess you could say, or similarities. And it is entirely possible for the culture to spread in the way that they're theorizing it could have.
Well, and word of mouth is like a game of telephone.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
one person I tell you something and whisper it in your ear, you tell him, or even if we're somewhere where nobody else can hear us, I tell you something, then you go to translate that story to him, and there's variations, and by the time it goes around through so many different people, different embellishments have been added, different things have been taken away, and it ends up being a completely different story from where it actually began.
Yeah. Yeah. So after reading it all, I think it's very possible. Like,
That
much more possible than what I initially thought it would be.
Santa Claus came from psychedelics.
Yep. Yep. I think it's very possible.
Very interesting.
Yeah. One thing that really solidified my thing on it was the freaking reindeer leather turning black. And I was like, there's no way. That's the dumbest shit
Yeah,
I've ever
there's
heard.
no
And
way.
then I was wrong, and I was like, well, fuck. I guess that's how it is.
I would have, for me, if I had like if you hadn't have found that information specifically, my thought would have been the reindeer leather boots going through the soot of the chimney,
Right, that could also turn them black. Yeah.
and the soot eventually stains the boots
Yeah.
black.
And I'm sure that probably played a part.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
The website said dirt. I think soot counts as dirt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
It's pretty dirty, so
100%.
All right.
yeah, that's what I had. I'm glad
Very
you guys
cool.
enjoyed it.
I
It was
did.
a lot of fun to research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those ones that are a lot of fun to research because there's some that I've started researching. I'm like, man, this sucks, and I'll literally write out next to my idea, sucks, not worth your time, and just scratch it out, and move on to the next. So I guess Austin's got a worthy topic that stood the test of research.
Yeah, so I kind of just had this wild thought one day about time travel and black holes together. And through my research, I kind of got a lot of the same answers, and it's highly plausible.
What is highly
But
plausible?
there are problems with it. And
Time
it's highly
traveling
plausible that
through a-
black holes are our answer to time travel.
Okay. It's like
Okay.
I'm just at the top of it. I'm thinking wormholes, and that's all I'll say.
Well, in that Einstein's theory of a black hole. Okay, we're getting touching too close to home.
I was like, that's all I'll say. I'm gonna let the man cook.
I'm gonna be the skeptic on this one.
All right. So I'll just start out flat and easy. What's a black hole? What do y'all understand is a black hole?
It is such a strong force of gravity that not even light can escape it in space. A dense, strong force of gravity that's so powerful that nothing can escape it, not even light.
What's
Yeah.
like matter and gravity? Well, it's like matter, which equals gravity, but it's like so densely compacted, which is why it has so much gravity.
Like the death of a super big star.
where it
Okay,
like
yeah, so
explodes and
y'all
then
are-
implodes super hard.
Y'all are pretty much on top of it. A black hole is a mass of energy that's been formed from a star collapsing on itself. So
Yeah.
the energy and mass that the star produces right when it collapses on itself is the birth of a black hole. Okay? So just like planets, stars, moons, even asteroids, actually, all of them have gravitational fields. This is because of the mass and the energy that they are producing. Obviously, the bigger the BH, the greater the mass and energy is being produced, which is the stronger the gravitational field is. Okay?
That makes sense.
So, in Einstein's theory of relativity, basically in layman's terms, when you get this huge amount of mass and energy, it stretches space.
Right.
Stretches space and time completely.
Right, because
Physicists
they're intertwined.
call it space stretching.
Right, and
Yes.
that's the idea where space-time is like a blanket. And like if we're all holding a blanket outstretched by each corner and we place an object in it, it's going to pull that blanket down, and that's the stretch of the space-time, right?
You can look at it that way. That's an easy way to look at it, especially like if you have a 3D model, a ball, and a graph. Pretty much the same thing. Physicists relate it way easier, and it's this mass creates a valley,
Okay.
a complete valley of bended space and time, right? And the closer you get to this valley, you'll eventually fall into it. We call the peak of this valley what? You've heard it before,
You're talking about
hundreds of times.
like the deepest part of the valley?
No, the peak.
Oh, the peak of the valley.
Yes, the peak of the valley.
High noon.
No.
Valleys don't go up; they go down.
The top of the valley
Is the peak.
is the peak. You've heard the word hundreds of times.
Point of no return.
No. It's in Interstellar. They talk about it so much, you literally hear the word every 3 seconds.
I've got
Point blank.
no. It's
Terrace.
He's gonna say it, and I'm gonna know. I know what it is. It's right there at the tip of my tongue. It's not the point of no return. It's the event horizon.
Yes, good job.
Hey.
It's
It
the
took,
event
it took me a
horizon.
while to
The
get there, but
event
I got
horizon.
there.
So the event horizon, or the peak of the valley, is
Okay.
this is where you get the image of the black hole.
Right. It's because it's the last point where light.
Light cannot escape. So light speed, obviously, is light speed.
Yeah.
The mass and energy of the gravitational pull that this hole is producing. When light's traveling across the space valley that it's pushing on, it gets stuck at the peak, the
Right.
event horizon.
Yeah.
That's where you get the shape.
Of the black hole.
Yes.
Okay.
If light was not there, there would be no image. So if there's no existing light, then to the eye, the hole does not exist.
Yeah, that's trippy to think about.
Exactly. But if there is light, that's where you see it.
Okay.
Okay? So, pretty much if an object reaches the event horizon, including light, you really can't get out of that.
Yeah, you're done for.
You can't get out of that.
And that's saying if you could survive the spaghettification, right?
I just need to make a big boom.
So, I told y'all all of this basic information. How do y'all think it relates to time travel?
Back up real quick. I'm gonna go.
What?
That's not basic information. You're talking about a black hole. Let me just go ahead and say that.
It's the basic
That's-
information of a black hole.
that's-
I get that, but it's just not. It's not basic.
It's not
information.
elementary, but
I mean, this is
Yeah.
stuff.
How many elementary people are listening to our explicit podcast, French fry?
I don't know.
I would hope.
It's 2023, bro.
yeah.
You got
So-
10-year-olds playing GTA 5. You got 8-year-olds playing COD.
Well, I mean, weren't we?
Yep.
Weren't we?
I mean, to be fair, anyways.
At 8 years old, I was definitely talking shit on the Halo 3 lobbies.
Oh, I'm saying I was playing
Kidding me?
Halo way too young.
Oh, yeah, man.
Call of Duty. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, based on my geek side, is that the idea of time travel with a black hole is that space is either folding between 2 points to create the time travel, or you can travel so fast that you can go in different points in time.
Y'all got some ideas you want me to spit?
I'm going to go ahead and say you need a very complex math formula that involves the mapping of the stars before you got this in the bag.
Okay.
But I'm waiting.
So, it's not time dilation. It's called time dilation is a difference from what I'm about to say.
I
Time
have
loops.
some time dilation stuff coming up for you guys in a future episode.
Ooh, nice.
So, time loops. Time loops are what physicists are suspecting is our most plausible and successful way of time travel. So, I'm actually going to give y'all a visual representation real quick.
Who's going to describe the visual representation after he draws it? Okay.
I was gonna say I'm blonde, so I'm just sitting here listening.
I want to try and describe it while he's drawing it. If I fail,
Let
he
him
can take
draw
over.
it first. Let him
No,
do
no,
it
no.
first.
It's very simple.
He's not gonna draw anything.
Take the
So, space and time, the plane of existence, is represented by a flat piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay? Remember how you said you touched on wormholes earlier?
Yeah, you're going to fold it in half
Okay, yes.
and punch it.
Yes. So, a wormhole is folding it in half, hot dog style, and
That's-
poking a hole through it with a pencil or pen,
That's hamburger style.
regardless.
Okay, but yeah, it works
Right.
either way.
So, that representation, if you can, for the listeners, can picture that in their head. For us, you just saw it.
We just folded a sheet of paper in
Yeah, we
half,
just-
and I jabbed my
yeah.
pen through it. And
And
So
the pen or
that's-
pencil would be the wormhole.
So, that's a wormhole.
Yeah.
Okay?
But it's not. It's also called There's a different name for a wormhole, and I can't think of what it's called.
I'll tell you right now, I didn't touch on it.
Okay.
I might know, but I'll wait.
Something bridge.
Yep. Okay. Einstein-Rosen bridge.
Yes.
Yes, Rosen Bridge. I think that's right.
Bro,
So,
I don't know nothing about that.
wormholes, right? You fold a piece of paper, you poke a hole through it, that's a wormhole. A time loop for a black hole, I rolled the paper up, so I met both ends with a piece of paper, so it makes a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just think about that.
Like a tube.
Yes. For us, Mom just rolled the paper up to make a tube.
Yep.
Okay. Now, picture just that image itself for right now.
It's a cylinder. It's a smart water bottle.
All right. Eventually, over time, black holes can revert their creation.
To be a star again?
Yes.
Oh, I heard about this.
So, roll that paper up until it's a tight cylinder.
Mom is rolling the paper.
Wow.
I'm not a professional roller, guys.
It's about the width of a number 1 pencil. What is?
That's a fat number 1 pencil.
Okay.
Look
So,
like a carpenter pencil.
now imagine a very tight cylinder, okay?
Yep.
That's the
Like a straw.
yes. That's the time loop complexity.
So it's folding over time over and over and over
it's
again.
not folding. It's
Rolling.
wrapping.
Okay.
It's wrapping on itself.
And that's what's happening inside the black hole?
Yes.
So it's a
Okay.
wrapping paper tube.
Yes. And it wraps until it condenses to one string and then boom. Back to a star again.
Then it's
So,
Whoa.
roll with me on this
Whoa.
theory.
I'm digging it.
So this theory is that if you can find the space valley of the black hole, so if you can document it and find it, right?
Yep.
If you can stay at just the cusp of it, not fully hitting the event horizon, but staying just like right next to it. Like shoulder to shoulder to it, right? Kind of nudging up next to it, snuggling up next to it, right?
Okay.
This is what is called a closed time-like curve. So physicists believe that if you do this, you will essentially be taking your trajectory through space, starting in the past and ending in the future.
What?
Because I know.
We do that anyway.
All right.
Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future.
You want to time travel to go see the dinosaurs, right?
Okay.
Okay.
I see what he's saying.
You go to this black hole,
I get it.
right? If that black hole was not condensed and made before the dinosaurs,
You can't go back.
then you can't go back to that point. You can only go back
To the
when
point, the birth of the black
to
hole.
the birth of the black
or the death
hole.
of the star.
Yes.
Oh, this is making my head hurt.
Yes.
Oh,
But you can
man.
also go forward to where the black hole condensed
Will end?
itself and made itself a sun.
Oh, it makes my head hurt so much.
So you can go forward to
Oh,
You
the
can go
point
forward,
beyond.
but you can't go further back
Right.
than the originate of the black hole.
Okay.
Right?
oh my God.
I like that theory.
I know, dude. This was breaking my mind.
Yeah,
By
I feel
the
like
way,
we have an
I for-
aneurysm or something.
I forgot to mention all this information I got.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, not ironically, came from the University of Tokyo. Top 6 physics university in the world.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, that makes sense because if I'm not mistaken, not a while ago, but a while back, maybe 8 years, I want to say, I think they were doing a test with like dark matter and like trying to make a miniaturized black hole or something to test energy levels or something.
Right. So
Makes sense.
I just broke your mind right there for a second, right?
Yeah.
When I snuggle up next to the event horizon, I'm starting in the past and I can go to the future
Yeah.
and I can go as far back as the original
Birth of
time
the
in the
black
birth of the black hole,
Mhm.
right? So, while you're experiencing the timeline curve loop. You observe, or really you would be able to observe, that cause and effect are untangable from each other. So imagine that is a huge ass. Oh, that's an army. That's no Navy.
Yep. It says Navy right on the side of it.
Yep.
Big old plane going overhead.
Big old son of a bitch. We gonna let homeboy finish cruising, let him land at Fort Gordon.
I got a quick question though. Like,
Yes.
but like I made reference to it, but the gravity's so strong, would it not stretch you to the point you would break?
Let me get there.
Okay.
Let me get there. I'm getting to the catches here in a second.
Okay.
All right.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, basically, while you snuggling up to the event horizon, you're observing cause and effect like a DNA strand, a helix. Okay. What happens in the past causes events that happen in the future. But because of the events that happen in the future, it can change the events that happen in the past.
Ugh.
Because it is, back again, an
Oh.
ever compressing loop.
So does that make the grandfather paradox not a thing?
Yes.
So we could go back and kill Hitler.
So
If
apparently,
there is a black hole that was birthed before the birth of Hitler, yes. But if you want to go somewhere, just sidetrack for a second, it does not matter if we go back and kill Hitler.
It doesn't-
Hitler will always exist.
It doesn't change.
Yes,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't
really
change.
change anything.
Yes. No. We can go back and kill Hitler. Cool. Awesome.
We would
But
just like
but
Joe
if we
Blow-
use that
future.
black hole to go back, then when where we go back, he was still already there.
But not only that, but at that point, we're messing with a timeline. An impactful, eventful timeline for our vibration. It does not matter if we go back and kill Hitler as a baby. There will always be a Hitler. It may not be Hitler.
Because that's part of the balance.
Yes.
Okay.
It's feng shui.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was going to say cosmic balance, but feng shui sounds
Feng
much
shui.
prettier.
Back to cause and effect. We can go back and kill Hitler, but because we went
Butterfly
back,
effect.
yes, but because we went back and killed Hitler, when I come back to the future,
It might be worse.
it's going to be worse. And because of that, the past where it truly originated is probably going to be twice as worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I went through more excerpts of the University of Tokyo. I even went to a link through MIT's description of black holes are the destruction of all matter, but could also be the birth of all matter, which is true. And they really all just kind of gave me the same thing that Tokyo was just telling me, which is what I've just told all of you.
Yeah.
So, what I'm going to bring you to now is the catches. One of them being spaghettification.
Where you stretch so
So-
thin you burst.
Well, I'll take this back. One big thing we got to figure out first is we got to build a spacecraft that can reach light speed.
Yeah.
Not go faster than light speed. We don't know what the hell that is.
No.
But it's got to be able to at least breach it. Be right up at it.
so
Without the tiniest speck.
we need Tabithian gas.
Maybe.
What'd you say?
Tabithian gas, I think,
And
is
we
what
got to be
they
able
have.
to navigate
What they
so
what
the
they mine on
tiniest
Bespin,
speck
bro.
of space dust doesn't
Oh,
blow our hole
okay.
apart.
Yes.
I mean,
So
it's a
we,
Star Wars
we have
reference for those
to
people who don't know. Sorry, that was horrible.
we have to make a very viable spacecraft that we can map our universal area, because like I touched on earlier, if there's no light there, then you're not going to see it.
Yeah, how are you going to know?
How are you going to know? Exactly. So we need a spacecraft that needs to map.
You put a big headlight on it, and when you see the light start curving, that's where you know your black hole is.
But wait, but if you're going at the speed of light and you turn your lights on, what happens?
That's a good question. I didn't think
I
about
think you
that.
break time, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You
right?
slow down just below the speed of light when you feel like you're
No,
getting close.
that's the one time you can see the beam an inch in front of your high beam, bro. That's all it goes.
Damn.
Because you're traveling just fast enough to keep up with it.
So, the second point, which rolls in off of the first point, is we need a strong spacecraft that, one, can map, two, can reach the speed of light. But what that also means is that the time loop is stronger the closer you get to the vertice of the hole, right?
Okay.
So, snuggling up is going to do some time travel for us, but it's not what
cool
we
stuff.
really want.
Yeah, it's not
We-
the cool stuff.
Yeah, it's not the cool stuff. We want that good shit,
So we
right?
We want to
gotta
be
jump in
like
the deep
what?
end.
A few atoms
Yes.
away from the event horizon?
No, we have to go through the event horizon.
Oh.
We don't have to go drop into the valley,
But we have to go across the top.
but we
through the
have
other
to go.
side.
We have to be able to
Wow.
not spaghettify across the event horizon.
You want to be on that precipice.
Okay.
Yes, which means
Oh, but that kind of makes sense. Sorry, continue.
our spacecraft has to go at light speed. It can't just
Right.
breach it. It has to be going that fast because we have to be able to surf that horizon without getting sucked in and spaghettified.
Yeah.
Yes, Cruz.
So, if I'm getting this right, I'm gonna try and make this as visual as I possibly can. And right now, I'm visualizing like they open a door on a dam and it creates that suction funnel where it starts swirling the water and it pulls it all
Right,
down.
right, right.
Yes.
So that's what I'm imagining as like the
We-
black hole,
we gotta
so
ride-
to speak.
we
Right.
gotta ride
the
that
top of it being
edge.
the
Yeah, a whirlpool.
like
A
a
whirlpool.
whirlpool.
Yeah.
We
But
have
the-
to be on the turning edge of the whirlpool, and we got to go across that motherfucker.
Right. So you're telling me I gotta get to the whirlpool and take my stone, which is my ship, and skip it just right that I hit the edge, bounce over to the other side, hit the edge, and can leave.
Yes.
Yes, we have to go straight across?
Mhm.
Okay.
But guess what? When you skip the rock and went way further into the future where that motherfucker ain't a rock no more, that motherfucker is geode.
Well, yeah.
Damn. If you throw the
But
geode
then the
even-
geode gets sucked back
And becomes a rock
because
again.
of the valley, and when it comes back, it's a bigger rock.
So then it
It's
sounds
Geo,
like we
dude.
would have
Yes.
to also have a craft that could not let us age with time as we try to attempt to do this, because it sounds
We're-
like we're gonna die.
One thing I think
What-
I learned from terraforming is we're going to assume all these things are possible.
if
Like I'm saying, until
Well,
there's
I'm
a man
saying-
out there with a stick getting readings, I ain't trusting nothing.
But if we're in a craft that's going light speed, then we wouldn't.
Aging wouldn't be as effective.
Yeah.
Wouldn't as be as detrimental.
wouldn't
you know
be
how,
as
like,
affected
every-
by it.
Right, but what I'm saying is we're going at light speed, yes. But we have to go at light speed to, reference
have
back
to-
to the whirlpool,
yeah.
skip across this,
We have to skate across
skip
it.
across the event horizon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As we cross into the middle of that gravity's got to get even stronger. That's going to be pulling on you.
Yeah.
Because at the edge, okay, yeah, it's strong. Granted, it's probably, who knows how strong, if we have to travel at light speed to just keep up with it. Now, factor in the distance of that to the center, where it's probably the strongest. We got to be pumping a few light years out of that engine, probably.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't change the way we age if we were going that speed.
I feel like you would age slower
Technically, we
or
would.
faster when you got to the super gravity point, right?
But if we're always going at the speed of light, we wouldn't.
Like, let's let
Yeah,
Austin
let's
carry
let-
on.
yeah, 'cause
Like,
we're-
the smart guy.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Like these are things I was asking myself while I was reading through it. I was like, okay, like we got to do it this way. We got to do it this way. All right.
Mhm.
He is correct in a sense. If we are not breached that light speed when we skate across,
Yeah.
we will be spaghettified and turn into a string of atoms
Right.
before we realized we're not going that fast.
Right.
We're dead before we know we're dead.
Instantaneous.
Yeah.
So it's either really the only way to do it is we need a spacecraft that can map and can see all forms of light and star systems and areas that we've known. It has to go at light speed and it has to be strong enough that our gravitational force, because light speed does produce mass and energy, is our mass going to equate just enough power for us to get over the deep point of the valley and skip across on the other side of the event horizon?
So we would have to be super fat and get a bunch of us, and then a really powerful engine, or would we have to be super skinny?
But either have
I
to be
think I figured
Wally
it
or
out.
complete opposite.
And I mean, that's the rest of this is how can we figure this out?
Cruz thinks he figured it
I
out.
figured it out, bro. I got the solution. We got to get all the big heads on the block. You know what I'm saying? This is what we got to do. We got to go find adamantium to make the hull of the spaceship.
First of all, I'm pretty sure that's heavy as shit.
But it's strong and it ain't gonna bend, from what we know. Second
What?
off, we got to go to Bespin to get the gas so we can get the hyperdrive functioning. You know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna fly out, find the black hole. We're gonna find the moon just far enough away that we can, build our rail gun. We're gonna build a spaceship onto the rail gun, shoot the spaceship with the rail gun at the black hole, and right before we get there, we're gonna kick on the hyperdrive to make it across.
You gonna ask Doc for his flux capacitor too?
If he's got a spare one, yeah, I will.
Why are we shooting the black hole?
No.
No, we're
'Cause-
shooting the spaceship like a
like
it's
a bullet out of a rail
spaceship
gun to give it
launcher.
that, because if there's not enough gravity,
Give it a
it's gonna give it that oomph, and then we get right there, pop on that nos. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
pretty
if
clever.
that
Right on
anti-atom,
It's pretty clever.
anti-atom and whatever he
Adamantium.
said,
adamantium.
yeah, whatever that is too much. What about what that stuff that Captain America's shield's made out of?
Vibranium?
Yeah, from Wakanda.
Ooh, that might work because it absorbs vibration.
Oh, yeah, and if we're going off of string theory, vibranium's
Yes.
OP.
It
Okay,
is very OP.
String theory
Why not an
is
alloy of the two?
a horse of a different color and
if you can do
incredibly
If
fascinating.
you could make an alloy of the two, I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, that's really all I could really grab for it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, nothing else really gave me like, yes, we can do this, or no, we can do this. It was, if we have these things, it is completely possible.
Well, that's why it's
Let's
called
see.
theoretical physics.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we have this ship that can do these speeds and have this type of
There's another
density,
plane.
Yeah, it's another
hey,
Navy
Mike,
plane.
Mike, pull up flight radar.
Pull up flight. Okay, yeah, I'll pull up the flight radar real quick. This is fun.
If we don't have those things, this is not possible. We will go to the event horizon like Gargantua and not be spared like Homeboy and Interstellar and
Matthew
go through it.
McConaughey.
We will be a string of atoms in less than a millisecond.
So, my dork self, Jonathan's dork self, Hunter, I hope you're listening, buddy. We watch Skinwalker Ranch. I don't think you've gotten there yet.
I don't know. Maybe.
On
Which
season 3.
I'm in season 3.
where they yeah, and it disappears. Yes,
No,
that is a wormhole.
No. Where the flash of light in the middle of the night that was the brightest point. It was 5:13 in the morning.
Yeah, I think I
That's-
remember. what you're touching on.
episode I'm on.
Okay.
What did I
He was
miss?
like, "What if that is the other end of a black hole?
Oh,
What
I
if
see.
that's the other end?"
I look at my phone for 15 seconds and I come back, and then we went from black holes to Skinwalker
Well,
Ranch.
no, it tied in.
It tied
I
in,
get
but
it,
see,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
you get for being on your phone.
So what?
I was told to get on my phone.
He
This is
literally
also
was.
fair. This is also fair.
So
Yeah,
what did
come on
the
now,
what
give me
did the radar plane thingy?
Oh,
say?
they're just doing training flights.
Oh,
They're
okay.
just flying loops. Yeah,
So it's probably the same damn plane.
yeah.
Probably.
This is how you turn it.
Yeah.
This is the gas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if we have this strong ship that can touch light speeds, we can time travel and pretty much do whatever we want. But it's got to be able to map it out because we
Yeah.
have to know
Where the black holes
where
are
the
at.
black holes originated from, because that tells us its age.
Is there anywhere in the universe where there is no light besides a black hole?
The
The blank
in
space.
between galaxies, if I'm not
That would
mistaken.
be called the subliminal.
Yeah, it's basically the
Subliminal.
emptiness void that is between like your galaxies.
the blank space.
But there
So
would-
like we got the Milky Way, and then there's
Yeah.
Andromeda. the space in between that, supposedly, from what we understand, there ain't nothing there.
But does that mean there's no light there?
Well, if there's no stars, there'd be
If
no
there's
light.
no star to
But
produce
but
light.
light goes forever in
Okay,
space.
so you want the answer?
Yeah, what's
There's
up?
a black hole there because the space that's in between Milky Way and Andromeda is pulling us together.
Okay, but I'm not talking about yes,
Everything,
that,
yes.
but
Didn't they find another black hole in the Milky Way recently?
I have no idea.
I feel like there's
Have to look on that. I'll have to look up on that.
like we've always known there's a black hole in the Milky Way, like
Well,
on the other side of our galaxy.
we
But I feel like
have-
they found like
we have
more.
the recent documented one from James Webb that proves that Gargantua Interstellar is correct. That is what a black hole looks like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that shit was cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
we're
I,
at the first photo.
I think there's more than one black hole in the
Ooh.
Milky Way. Because
That doesn't make. But isn't the Milky Way a spiral galaxy?
Yeah,
So
Yes.
how does that work?
there might be two in one arm, one in another arm. I mean,
But it wouldn't make a spiral then, would it?
why wouldn't it?
Because
depends on the
There's
size
more
of the black hole.
galaxy than there's. Yeah, and like he's saying, there's different sized black holes. There's little ones. There's big ones. No, I thought I read something about two black holes spiraling each other, like dancing with each other, like
I
almost
think I read
That's
something
gotta be
about
like
that.
two-
instead like a 2-star solar system. It's a 2 black hole solar system. I feel like I read.
What's up,
Austin's got
Austin?
the phone. He's got the
Per
look.
May 19th, 2023, astronomers estimate that the Milky Way has anywhere between 10 million to 1 billion stellar black holes with
See?
masses roughly 3 times the size of the sun.
Whoa.
And our sun's not even a big star.
Yeah, no, I think
No.
our sun's like the second smallest size of star.
Yeah, it's kind of a baby.
Well, no,
honestly.
ours is it's really small for the type of star that it is.
Well, that's what. But like, as far as like classifications of star, I think like we're the
down there.
second one.
Yeah, we're down there.
Because I think it's dwarf star, us, the next like the big
I
boy,
think
and
we're
then
like
like
our-
the one that's like.
You might have to fact check me, but I thought our sun was a red dwarf star.
Yeah, I think that's what we are.
No, ours is not a red dwarf.
It's a red,
don't think so.
Suns can become red dwarfs.
and I could be entirely wrong. I could be look. All three of you is just Googling.
I
it
gotta
now.
know what type of star is
I mean,
the
how-
sun.
M class.
$4.5 billion year old yellow dwarf star.
Yellow dwarf.
Yeah.
Red dwarf. Yellow dwarf.
The sun is a G-type main sequence star.
Okay, I was
Damn,
a few letters
boys.
off.
We're in the canon timeline. We have a main sequence star. G-type. That's what I like to hear.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, our sun's a G.
Yep.
That's what's
Comprised
up.
of helium.
Right now, because
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what changes stars, right? Because it
Ah.
uses up
Yes.
it creates elements and uses up
And
elements.
sucks it all up,
Yeah, that's
We-
the fusion.
So we are the third on the chart.
Okay.
Um,
It's like white dwarf, red dwarf.
it's no, it's a red star. So like Betelgeuse.
Yeah.
It's actually, it gave me comparisons to give with each one, and then like a orange star, which is Arcturus
Mm-hmm.
system, I'm assuming, and then the white yellows, which is like us,
Huh.
and then it goes blue white like Procyon, blue like Sirius, and then another blue like Rigel, and then another blue. So apparently the big ones are just blue.
What? Shits are hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what?
but
Hot as
that's number 10 Lacerda.
How come our sun don't have a cool name like Beetlejuice? We just call it the sun.
Well, because it's ours.
Yeah,
Uh,
but we gave it a lame name.
I don't know.
Sun.
Maybe the sun does have a name.
So apparently
moon
our
is-
sun burns at 5,700 Kelvin. That big boy one, that 10 Lacerda, that sun burns at 40,000 Kelvin. I'm out.
What? I'm out with the sun.
We would not be in the Goldilocks area.
That Goldilocks circle
We
is
better be
bigger.
far
it's
away.
further
Yeah,
away,
way
much
away.
further away.
Way bigger.
We'd be Mercury if we were in the same proximity to that star
Oh,
as we
yeah.
are to our star.
100%.
I don't even think Mercury'd be there.
It'd be engulfed.
I'm saying we would be like Mercury.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. No. Hot.
Hmm.
Our sun doesn't have any cool names, does it?
It
It's
could be
just the
called.
sun.
It could be called Sol, S-O-L, which
Yeah.
is the Latin for sun. But no, the sun's name is Sun.
Soul.
Sun.
Sun.
It's a lame name.
Not really. What? Don't hate on the sun.
I don't hate on the sun. I love the sun.
Praise the sun.
You know, if the sun were to die right now, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes.
I thought it was 7 minutes.
I'm pretty sure it's 8 minutes.
Didn't the Egyptians used to reference the sun as Ra? Or am I
That
getting
was
that
the sun
twisted?
god.
Yeah,
The sun,
sun
god.
god.
Sun god was right.
Yeah, that's right. He pulled the sun. That's right.
But yeah, to pretty much to wrap it up, in theory, black holes are our answer for time travel, but we missing a couple things.
Yeah.
We're missing some
not-
pretty substantial things.
We almost there. We got all the ideas.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you know what? The birth of any great exploration
just
starts with
idea.
an idea.
Literally, give us the correct Legos for it. Guarantee we're gonna do
So
it.
Yeah.
I think the starter set, right, to start this project, we should take the SR-71 Blackbird
Uh-huh.
because it's got the titanium airframe, so it's built to resist heat.
Right.
So it's already got a leg up.
Right.
It's built for high altitude. It's got another leg up. We go get them to design some rail guns, like
Slingshot
a
system?
super long aircraft carrier pointed at the sky. You know, it's got the cable launch. And we just got to like soup up the engines on the SR-71. I think we can do it.
I don't think so.
I think we could do
I
it.
don't think so.
It's science, bro. It's worth a shot.
Not in our lifetime, but
There's a lot of things wrong with that plan. But
Pioneers, bro.
no, I mean, it all starts with an idea, like we just said.
Hey, I mean, SpaceX has been launching and landing their rockets, so we're getting somewhere.
we're
Yeah, that's
getting a
pretty
lot
cool.
closer.
We're getting somewhere.
That's
The-
pretty
Hey,
Get it
Elon.
fucked up.
Let me
think
shoot it.
what's
Let me shoot a
scary-
plane at the sun.
What's scary is the leaps and bounds we've made in the past 100 years versus any other 100-year period previous. That's scary to think about.
Like
What-
just how fast we're progressing.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that because of like mainstreaming electricity? That's when we figured it out, and that's when stuff really got rolling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like started with industrialization
Industrialism,
and then
yeah.
electricity. And
Yeah, that's right. Because electricity just made industrialization way better.
Yeah. And then it was global communications.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, throw some ethical questions out here for you guys. We advance so far scientifically. Are we losing morality and ethics in
Without
the
a doubt.
process? Are we sacrificing morality and ethics
Yes.
for scientific gain?
Maybe sometimes. But I mean, I don't think that's really. Well, yeah, maybe. Sometimes it definitely happens.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how far are we willing to go to say we time traveled? I mean, are we going to fuck humanity up to a point where we're like, well, now we have to fucking go back because we've just screwed up so bad
How far did
to gain the point where we could go that far?
look how far we went as a nation because some boys pulled up in some planes and bombed our houses on an island. Our planet's at the brink of extinction. We probably gonna do something outlandish.
Something's gonna
You know,
happen.
I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna reference a movie, but it's a line in the movie that kind of pertains to this.
Yeah.
It's the day the Earth stood still.
Yeah.
When they're towards the end of the movie when they're talking to the scientists.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sitting there, and it's basically why should we let you guys keep? And the scientist guy kind of takes a minute and he goes, "I'll tell you why. Humanity as a whole lacks the ability to change until the moment it's gonna die. At that moment is the only time humanity will go, oh, okay, we're gonna die. We need to fix this.
So
Yeah.
are humans insane until that point?
I think we're arrogant.
As a whole, it's the mob mentality
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
or herd mentality or crowd mentality as a whole. Individuals can think, but the mob mentality is the lack, like you're following the crowd, and even though it goes against your guts, your instinct, your humanity. But I mean, I feel like there's a teetering point where we've gone too far. And I feel like we're fastly approaching that teetering point. ethically speaking.
I think it's very possible, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not hoping for anything to happen, but I'm just kind of hanging out. But I have a sneaking suspicion, like within my lifetime, relatively shortly, something's gonna happen. Cause something's gotta
Something
happen.
big will happen in our lifetime.
It's
But
gotta
I don't know.
happen.
I don't know what it is.
Based off of history and the timeline of events, we're about due for a big one.
Yeah. We're due for a big event.
If history repeats itself, we're due.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's kind
Yeah,
of
but guess
depressing
what?
to think about.
It
Guess
is
what?
depressing to think about.
That's why I
Wholeheartedly.
like living in my bubble.
I was about to say, getting back to, can I solve this big ass problem?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah. Sure, it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, fun as
Yeah.
hell to talk about, but I can't really do anything right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now. Right now.
To quickly go back to black holes, though, I was thinking it'd be really hard for us to go like straight through the event horizon, right? But it would maybe be easier for us to go like around the side or over the top
When I was gonna ask.
because like
That's
you know how like they,
that's
like
that's the snuggling up thing.
oh
Us snuggling up is
Oh.
is running the
Okay.
merry-go-round on it.
okay
We're
okay.
just right there at the cusp of it,
Gotcha.
and we're just following it around. But
Okay.
the true part is
going
we
through.
beam straight through it.
Yeah, we got to hit that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Mhm.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah, so short term time travel would be us snuggling up to it and running the merry-go-round on it.
Yeah.
Exponential time travel, 80 thousands, millions possibly, is us skipping across over it.
So the snuggling up's me seeing my great grandparents.
As
Probably
long,
further back. But
yeah, as long as that black hole is that old,
the
yes.
the skipping just assuming this black hole is old as the Earth.
Okay.
The
That's
snuggling
very
up, I
fucking
get to
old.
see like my super greats when they were still worshiping many gods. But the skipping across is seeing the dinosaurs.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay.
Snuggling up, you can go see your next of kin. You can go see the future and the
Or else-
progression of
Yeah,
what we know as knowledge. Yeah,
I'll see your great grandchildren.
yeah. That's snuggling up. Skipping across it, we figuring something out. We're finna go find a galaxy that we didn't know existed or doesn't exist yet. Or we're trying to find out an answer, and the only way to find out this answer is to go through this time travel.
Yeah.
So let's say right that we get to the point we run all these tests and we do all that. We realize we done did it, and every time we've done it we've caught the L because we just can't do that math. Hypothetical.
I don't know what caught that L means.
We didn't make it.
Lose.
We didn't make it.
An L is a loss. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Catching an L is you catching that loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Just chalk that up.
Yeah.
You can't. There's nothing you're gonna say. You lost.
We only want dubs around here.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for breaking that down for stupid mom.
So let's say you couldn't do that, and we figure out, like they said back in, I forget what the author was, but there was the chair that was the time machine that had all the rings that spun around it, this, that, the third. So math, right?
I don't think I've read those.
Huh?
H.G. Wells?
I think so. Yes, that sounds right. Yes. So let's say you had to use math for time travel. You sit in the chair, punch in the date, it takes you back.
Yeah.
calculations, formulas.
Right.
Yes.
Something we probably, I want to say easier to obtain because apparently with math we can do all things, but we
It's
probably
an
don't
easier-
have the things we need to make it happen.
It's an easier grasp for us because it's math.
Right. So logically,
It's constant.
via time, if time's ever moving, ever changing, which it is,
Yes.
Yep.
you have to not only track back time for you yourself, but also
Track back the time for the existing nature around it.
Oh.
I I'm coming. I got a question for that.
In my mind, right, if you're going to calculate it to land in the exact spot, you can't just, hop into a machine and pop up 60 years ago in Tokyo, easy peasy lemon squeezy. No.
Right, you got to do all 4 dimensions.
Yeah, you got to hit it all. You've got to, okay, where were you at? Where was the Earth at? Where was the sun at? And then, you got to keep going out because as everything moves, if you don't do that math to a T correctly,
You're gonna land in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, you're going to land in the middle of space without a spacesuit. And even if you had a spacesuit, you're probably still SOL.
Fucked.
That's like when Squidward broke the time machine in that one episode, and he was in those like alternate dimensions,
Oh,
all like
yeah.
the colored shapes,
Because
or,
they
like,
were
the
traveling
mirrors
through
of
time when he
himself.
broke it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is this an imagination
Well,
episode?
No, it wasn't the imagination episode. That's when they had a cardboard box.
Isn't that when they were in the freezer?
The one I'm talking about is when Squidward gets locked into the freezer at the Krusty Krab,
Right.
and he gets like cryogenically frozen basically, and is able to trap it. He-
Okay.
Goes into the future where they have the
Robot
time
SpongeBob.
machine. Yeah, and then he goes back. That's where SpongeGar and Patgar come from. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good episode.
Good ass episode. SpongeBob, fantastic.
Fantastic show.
Call out to Doodle Bob.
Yeah, fantastic episode.
You want to know a funny fact about SpongeBob?
Yeah, what's
So the intention of SpongeBob was an adult cartoon.
I can see it.
Yeah. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
the first original like 3 to 4 seasons was very like kind of like borderline Adult Swim
I
stuff.
mean, there was episodes he's watching and like he's laughing at some of the silly stuff, and then there's some stuff he's not
There's
laughing
adult
at. I'm
jokes
going,
at, and you're like, what?
no,
Yeah.
they did not just. And
Yeah.
I look at him and it's just goes right over his head, and I'm
Yeah.
like, cool.
No, the
right,
the
good.
original intention of SpongeBob was it was supposed to be like a full on like true adult show.
Yeah.
Like kind of related to like Boondocks or like Aqua Teen.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
something like that.
I've rewatched it recently, and I see all the parts where like a kid would laugh, and then I see all the parts where an adult would laugh.
Yeah.
And, like they put some raunchy, dirty stuff
There's
in
some
there.
Very
Dude,
raunchy
there's
stuff.
a full
It's so
episode. It's
funny.
the episode where they're cussing,
Yes,
where they're
yeah.
using so many swear words.
And is
So
that what
they
the dolphins
literally,
speak?
Yeah.
no. So they literally recorded that episode with them cussing, and then
Nice.
they just muffled it out.
With the dolphin
and,
chirps.
and replaced it with the dolphin chirps or whatever word that they used.
Mhm.
But they have the original recording of that episode of them cussing,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
absolutely hilarious.
There's out there
He's
expletives after
yeah, like
expletives.
SpongeBob's like, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot." Like in the SpongeBob voice, that is hilarious.
Oh yeah,
With the
yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. That's pretty good.
That was actually really.
Yeah.
don't ever ask me to do that again.
It's not good for your throat.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Shout out to SpongeBob, great show. Me and a couple friends one time were discussing just like how funny SpongeBob is for kids and adults, and we came to the conclusion that if you were a kid who did not watch SpongeBob, you're probably unfunny as a grown person.
People in our generation can reference anything and put SpongeBob over it. It's hilarious because
It's
Well,
universal.
I feel
It's
like you can do the
universal,
same
yeah.
thing with Forrest Gump, though.
Yeah, it's also universal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's made that well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, SpongeBob is the Forrest Gump of the animated world.
Yeah, kids cartoons. It's up there. I mean, there's a couple other ones like Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Ed, and
Oh,
you're pretty
classic.
funny.
Oh,
Shout out to I'm gonna pick y'all's brains real quick. Reach in there. Y'all remember Recess?
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Okay,
love
okay,
Recess.
okay. Recess is good. What's up?
so speaking of Ed, Ed, and Eddie, do you know about the final episode?
Yeah, where they grow up, right?
No.
Or it's like they all die or they're all dead or something.
Yeah, they're all dead or
except
something?
for one of them.
The whole
except for-
thing is like Ed's dream or something. Is that it?
No. So if I remember correctly, the episode starts off that it's really hard to say who is who because of their names.
There's Ed, which is the short one. Double
Ro-
D with the freaking
Okay.
black
Double
hat.
D was the smart one,
and then Eddie.
Eddie
was the tall.
Was the, yeah,
okay,
was the
dumb
tall
one.
dumb
so
one. Yeah.
Ed and Double D,
Okay.
right?
Wait. Was Ed
I don't
the
think it
tall,
was
dumb
Double
one?
D.
No, Double D's the smart one.
Okay.
No, Eddie was the short one. Ed's the tall one.
That
Pretty
makes
sure.
that sounds right.
That sounds
Pretty
better.
sure. I'm pretty sure that's it.
I'm gonna look it up real
So
quick.
the short one and the smart one, right? If I remember correctly, to make their money to get jawbreakers for the day.
First of all, they're always trying to make a bag, bro.
Right.
Respect the hustle.
Right. No. I get that. So to get this, they decide they're gonna sell Ed's cereal.
Hmm.
So apparently they break into his house,
Mm-hmm.
take all the cereal, and start selling it to everybody.
Mhm.
Well, from what I understand, Ed's kind of, if you pay attention to the show, Ed's always the test dummy, so to
Yeah.
speak. He's always we're going to put you here because if you get hurt, it's okay. You'll be fine.
Yep.
So they do it to him, not thinking, it'll be anything because it's Ed. He's aloof. He nothing's going to bother him.
Ed was getting that get back.
Well, so they end up selling the cereal to majority of the neighborhood. Come to later the day, nobody can find Ed. Everybody's looking for him. Well, then kids on the street start disappearing.
What the fuck?
Oh, dude, it's a very dark episode.
This is the final episode?
This is the final episode, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So it goes on. Kids start disappearing. I think it's Eddie or Double D goes home, finds a note that says your parents are gone, or something to the effect. Can't find their parents. Use the phone, try to call them. Nobody answers. All resulting into Ed and the short and smart one end up going to find Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they find Ed, and he's in his house. He has all the kids in the basement of his house.
What the fuck?
And as soon as the other two walk in, he grabs them in a monster costume that he had, because the cereal that he was eating had like an
A
alien
monster on it?
octopus monster on it.
Yeah,
So when they took his cereal, he personified it
I see.
and just started taking all the kids because they had the cereal.
But the theory is that they were all dead?
Yes.
Okay.
Theory is
Oh,
that,
okay.
So the theory is that Ed's taking them out.
Having been a person that's probably only ever watched Ed, Edd and Eddy passing as one of my 3 children were watching it, maybe the cereal had the magic mushrooms in it, the Fly Gary's mushrooms, and this was all a psychedelic trip.
Maybe.
Maybe it had Fly Garrix in it.
But yeah, no, from what I understand, that's like the final dark episode of like Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Gotcha. Yeah, those cartoons, they went in back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Code
They had
name
some-
Kid Next Door, boys.
Yeah. They had
Shout
some
out to
deep,
Samurai Jack.
deep
Number
undertones.
1.
Oh, yeah, Samurai Jack.
Man, He-Man, Skeletor, She-Ra, Snorks, Smurfs.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
not to, I didn't mean to cut you off there,
I
but
think-
I have watched the original Hellcats.
Oh, Thundercats?
Thundercats.
Yo, yeah, Thundercats.
Yes, dude.
Hellcat.
Hellcats,
Lionel.
Thundercats.
Lionel.
It's Lionel, yeah.
Lionel and Tigress.
Yep.
Well, yeah, them the cartoons I grew up on.
No, I watched Thundercats. I had the I watched a lot of OG Thundercats, and I remember as a kid I had the box set of the OG Transformers cartoons from the 80s.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was fire. I watched all of that.
Let's see here. What's a good one to call back to from back then?
The USA Cartoon Express, baby.
Cyber Chase?
No, Cyber Chase was an
Space
interesting.
Ghost.
How about Chalk
Oh,
Zone?
yeah, I know. What's that?
Chalk Zone.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know about Chalk
Oh,
Zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Such a vivid. Wow.
Chalk Zone is that's a throwback.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh man, there's some
Rainbow Bright.
what'd you say?
Rainbow Bright.
That's not a cartoon.
Yeah, bullshit.
Oh, it's one of those 80s cartoons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I know which one. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're
I
talking
had
about.
the Rainbow Bright bed set.
Hell yeah.
Sheets and comforter and pillowcases.
Wake up on Saturday morning and watch the Care Bear show.
Don't be messing with my
I'm-
Care Bears
no.
now. Look, that was one thing me and Papa did every Saturday morning, man. We watched the USA Cartoon Express.
Hey, hear me out.
What's up?
One of the greatest cartoons of all time. Teen Titans.
Teen Titans for sure.
The original.
Yes, the OG. Not that
Yeah.
Go bullshit. The OG Teen Titans.
People hate on Go. It's not as bad as it's made out to be,
It's
but
bad.
The girls
It's not
watched
good,
Go.
huh?
The girls watched Teen Titans Go.
Well, yeah, that's what they had. It's really not as bad as it's really
That's what
not.
they had.
It's really not as bad as what people make it out to be. But it's definitely not as good as Teen Titans.
So it's funny.
Do you remember?
People have been. Oh, go ahead.
Actually, no, I cut you off totally. So
I was just
continue.
gonna. If people have been talking a lot about CGI, as opposed to like early 2000s to now, and people apparently, everybody's saying that CGI back then was like.
It depends.
Okay, look at Jurassic Park. See, like what they did.
Jurassic Parks are Muppets or
Yeah.
puppets.
Yeah, well,
There is
animatronics
some
and stuff. And
CGI.
there's some CGI, but I mean, look at what they did with animatronics and CGI versus
Then.
what some stuff comes out now. I'm like, ugh.
They another
Yeah.
call out that they use is Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was pretty good.
That
It still holds up today.
yeah.
And that movie's like what? Almost 10 years old now? 10 years?
10?
Yeah, no, it's older than that, my boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Keep going.
I want to say
Jeez.
Black Pearl come out like
Was
early 2000s.
Was Davy Jones in the
Oh,
It's
Black
like
Pearl?
20 years.
No, he wasn't in the Black Pearl. He come out in the second one.
The second one. When did the second one come out? 06?
I want to
or-
say around 2008.
Oh, I think it
We're-
is 2008.
We're talking close to 20 years ago.
It was Dead Man's Chest. Let me look it up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it
Jeez.
was Pirates of the Caribbean, and then Curse of the Black Pearl, and then Dead Man's Chest, right?
Curse
no,
of the
no.
Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest.
Stranger Tides.
No,
Yeah.
Stranger
Yeah,
Tides
Stranger Tides was like
was number
s-
4.
No.
Yeah.
it was-
No.
Number 4.
Number 3 is on Stranger Tides.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is because it's when they have like when they go to Asia.
Google will answer these questions.
I'm good.
Austin's
Pirates
got
of
the
the
phone
Caribbean.
up.
In order.
Good lord.
At World's
talking about
End
in
is the third
weeds.
one. At World's End. That's when they go to the to go
Stranger
get him from
Tides
Davy
is
Jones'
like
locker.
5.
Is it?
No, it's 4.
Okay.
Because then it's Dead Men Tell No Tales is 5.
That's right. That was the newest one that came
That's
out.
the newest one where they deal with the Spanish ghost ship.
Yeah, with Robert Coron, I
I
think.
think,
Gosh, I forget that actor's name. He played the bad guy, and
He's a phenomenal actor.
he's one of the best actors alive today.
Javier Bardem.
Yes. Yes, he's an amazing actor.
Well, how about the whole reason Jack Sparrow was a pirate is because he freed the slaves he was supposed to transport for the British.
Yep.
I don't remember that part of the movie, but
Yeah.
that's good.
So
Good on him.
actually, it's the next one that's coming out is actually going to tie into all of that. It's
The Code.
it's the prequel to Jack Sparrow.
The one with the compass.
That's the first one.
Then when he's on the British ship and like they're throwing shit back and forth to one another, he's talking about all you had to do is deliver the cargo, and
Yeah.
the whole thing is Jack Sparrow
Freed the
refused
slaves. Yeah.
to look at humans as cargo, so he freed the slaves, which is why the ship was sunk. And he made the deal with Davy Jones, which is the 99 souls. It's the 99 slaves he freed.
Yeah, because all the slaves, so to speak, apparently got off the ship.
Yeah,
But when they shot the ship, Captain has to go down with the ship.
right.
So the reason the Black Pearl came back up black is because before it sank, the entire ship caught on fire.
Yeah, they burned it.
Mm.
So, it being raised and just straight black, homie was like, this is the Black Pearl now. I
That
think
makes
its original
me.
name was like the Wicked Wrench or something like that.
Wench.
Wench, yeah.
The Wicked Winch.
But as far as the years when they were made,
Yeah.
the first one, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl was 03.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Chest, which has Davy Jones in it for the first time, and the Kraken, is 2006.
Mhm.
And then Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End is 2007. So there was actually only a year between those two.
Dang, that makes sense. But okay, so Davy Jones from 2006 still holds up today, which is amazing.
Almost
But there's also-
18 years later.
There's
17.
movies from
Yeah.
longer ago that also still hold up today.
Such as.
I can't. Okay, well I can name some of them, but like the really good ones are like back in the 40s and stuff when they would use like mirrors and matte paintings and scale sets and stuff to do some crazy
Random
effects.
I
Sorry.
got to call out on one that actually is not bad. Dragonheart.
Oh, yeah. That
Dragonheart.
one isn't that bad.
Dragonheart CGI is actually not bad.
I've never seen Dragonheart.
That's a good movie.
Okay, but you can see it,
you no.
but like a kid, young
For
teenager.
its time? Hold on.
I
Yeah,
don't
first
know.
time it's rough.
I think Monty Python and the Holy Grail with the coconuts and the model cat.
But none of that was CG. That was all models and
I know,
stuff.
but it was fucking funny.
I don't know. It was really funny.
I like how they made a spoof of the fact.
Yeah, that they couldn't afford.
Yeah. We're about to
it.
get a storm in. You feel that temperature drop? In
Yeah.
The wind?
I feel it.
Feels good.
Yeah, it does.
So Dragonheart's in 96.
Okay.
The dragon's name's Draco.
Yeah.
Draco the Dragon.
And who
Yep.
was the actor that voiced Draco?
Dennis Quaid. No, Dennis Quaid was the main actor.
Sean
Draco
Connery.
is Sean Connery.
Yeah.
So yeah, the new Pirates of the Caribbean is going to talk about the sinking of the Pearl, the fact that apparently Jack was supposed to marry 2 different women, and apparently how Cotton lost his tongue.
Damn,
The
that's
guy
cool.
with the bird.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're gonna finally learn why he don't have a tongue.
Cool.
So cool. I'm down with that.
All right.
My favorite character in the whole movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody just looks at bro. Hey, bro, you got this? Can't say anything. He can't say no.
It's true. It's true.
He can shake his head.
Yeah, you can shake his
He's
head.
old.
The picture's pixely. But that's what he looks like.
Oh, that does look really good. So yeah, Austin showed me a picture of Draco from Dragonheart,
You have to watch the movie. Look it up.
and yeah, I have a feeling the movements might be a little like you could tell that
They
via
weren't
the
bad.
movement.
They were bad.
They
No,
weren't
I mean,
bad.
not that it's bad, but these days, but what I'm trying to say is from the still image, it's really hard to tell that it's CG. So the movements might give it away because it did come out in '96.
But yeah, no. Good. For its time, a very good use of CG.
I think so. There's this one, I think it's called The Glass Man, but it's about like a guy made of glass, and they had like a full CG, like humanoid made of like glass panes, and it had like all like the volumetric effects and stuff like that. Like it looked like pretty freaking realistic, and it came out in 90, 91.
I don't think he was mad. Are you talking about the one with Samuel L. Jackson?
I don't know.
Unbreakable?
Stained Glass Man.
Oh, I don't
No,
know.
not Unbreakable. You're thinking of Mr. Glass.
So, kind of throw it back to where you were talking about, like, black and white film era. The Invisible Man.
Yes. You know what they did is that
And I challenge you guys to watch the black and white, The Invisible Man. Like, for that era, flawless.
it's really good. It's really good.
So how did they do it?
If I remember correctly, the actor playing the Invisible Man, his like whole body had to be a different color, so that they could like use the color on the film to like cut him out, basically.
The color contrast.
Yeah. But like he would still be wearing clothes and stuff, so you could get all that. Yeah. And I think they did something similar with the Invisible Man in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which also has some good
What a
visual
great
effects.
freaking movie.
Yeah.
Good-ass
Yeah,
movie.
that's a really good one. Yeah.
Good-ass
I want that ship.
Yeah.
The Nautilus.
Yes,
Yeah,
the Nautilus. I
yeah.
want that.
With Captain Nemo.
Yep.
20 Leagues Under the Sea.
The car was nice too.
20,000 Leagues Under
Yeah.
the Sea.
20,000 Leagues
You know
Under the
that
Sea.
car is real.
Yeah.
And they took a semi truck chassis and just had it drive in reverse, basically, and that's how you get the double wheels in the front.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a reverse semi truck chassis.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to this episode of In the Weeds. Who knew Santa Claus is a psychonaut? And maybe one day we'll all be using black holes to get to work on time. I hope you enjoyed. If so, please give us a follow and share us around. If there are any topics that you want us to cover, please leave a comment. I'll leave y'all with an excerpt from episode 2.5.
So let me start off like this. If you had the possibility to have the knowledge to live longer than 90 years.
Okay.
So longer than the average human lifespan.
Right.
I don't know if I'd want to, but keep going.
Okay. But if let's say you wanted to. Life's good on Earth, everything's going the right way, you know, there's not all these problems like we got, you know, life's actually good.
We're thriving.
We're thriving, right? You have the option to have the knowledge to live past 90. Would you want it?